Hey guys, in this video I want to go ahead and continue building upon our graphing of trig functions. Now we're going to go ahead and graph secant and cosecant. Now the first thing remember you have to realize is that secant and cosecant, remember they are the trig ratios or the reciprocal trig ratios of sine and cosine, okay? So recall that our sine function comes from the unit circle, right? We got that. So we start off at 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. And we do that, right? Now, understanding that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, okay? Understand that. So that means we are doing 1 over sine. Now, if we say y equals sine of x, right? Just like we do our normal graphing, y equals sine of x. Well, 1 over sine, that means we are flipping the y. You see this? So we can put the y here, substituting. So what we're actually going to be doing with this, we're going to be flipping the y coordinate, okay? And that's very important. And if you look at the y coordinate here, this is your x, this is your y coordinate here. This is 0, right? If I do the reciprocal of 0, I'm going to end up with 1 over 0. Well, you can't divide by 0. Okay, so what happens there? Well, here you end up what we call an asymptote. It's undefined. So we have a vertical asymptote all the way across. And same thing over here at 2 pi. We have a vertical asymptote. And so what you're going to see is wherever it crosses the x-axis, we're going to have these vertical asymptotes. Same thing over here on the x-axis, right here on 0. Vertical asymptote. Okay. Now, just like we did the reciprocal, we're actually going to reciprocal the function here. You see how it's going concave down? Okay. Well, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to flip it. All right. So here, instead of going concave down, this point's going to stay the same right there. But instead of going facing down, it's going to actually turn and face upward like that. Okay, like that. You see how I did that? And then this section here, instead of concave up, is going to be concave down. Like that. Okay. You notice how we did that? Concave up, concave down. And then it goes on, so on and so forth. So the way we're going to go ahead and graph these, we're going to go ahead and graph. Instead of cosecant, we're going to do sine. And then at the very end, we're going to flip them. Okay? So let's go ahead and graph this one. Now remember, I might have to rewrite this one. Let's say this guy instead of, we can do it right here. So this is what I'm going to graph. Okay? I'm not going to graph cosecant. I'm going to graph 2 sine of x minus pi over 2. I'm going to graph that. And then at the very end, I'm going to flip it or reciprocal. What's my midline? Same thing. The number that's out here, hey, there's nothing there. Great. The midline stays the same at 0. What's my amplitude? The number in the front. That's our 2. What's our period? Our period is 2 pi over what that b value. Whatever's in front of that x. What's in front of that x? Nothing. Good. So that means it's going to be a 1. So that means the period is 2 pi. So that means by the time I get over here, one wave is going to be 2 pi. So let's see. We start at 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So over here is 2 pi. And over here it's, well, we have to figure this out, right? Well, how do we do that? We take our period here, 2 pi. And we divide it into 4 sections because there's 4 quadrants. So each one's going to go by pi over 2. So the first one is pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and that's 4 pi over 2. Great. Last thing is our horizontal shift. Let's go ahead and do that. This guy, whatever's inside the parentheses, we're going to set it equal to 0. So it's positive. That means we're going to move it pi over 2 to the right. So we're going to start graphing. So we start off where? we start off with our midline. What's our midline? It's going to be 0. So we're just going to leave it there. Cool. Now remember, sine, where does sine start? Starts at the midline. Very good, right here. And then by the time I get over here, I go to the what? Amplitude. What's my amplitude? 2. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2. There you go. And then back to the midline. And then down to the amplitude. 1, 2. And then back up to the midline right here. So now I have this guy here. And I didn't give myself enough room, but that's okay. We're going to move it pi over 2 units to the right. All right, so then this guy is actually going to be over here. This guy is going to be over here. This guy is going to be over here. And this guy is going to be over here. And I ran out of room. But that's okay. So we're going to do this guy here. Get down. And here. And then it would continue up. But I ran out of room. And that's okay. So that's my graph. That's my graph of y equals 2 sine of x minus pi over 2. But now, that's not what they want. They want what? They want cosecant, don't they? So here's what I'm going to do. Wherever I see the point crossing the midline, okay, that's where it's going to become my asymptote. So this guy, here's my asymptote, right here. Again, my asymptote right here, right here, right there. And then here, we're going to flip it up like that. And it's going to go up like that. And then same thing over here. It's going to go flip down. Whoops. And then it's going to go that way too, but I ran out of room. So cosecant is going to be this solid black line right here and right there. All right, guys. Let's do another one. All right. Same thing. Here we go. This time we got secant. So secant, I'm going to be writing cosine. Okay. So I'm going to be writing cosine of 2x plus pi over 2 and minus 1. All right. What's my midline? The number that's whatever that's here. So that's a -1. What's my amplitude? My amplitude is the numbers in the front of the cosine, which is 1. My period, 2 pi over b. What's in front of that x? Well, in front of the x is 2. So 2 pi over 2, that's going to leave me with pi. Great. That means by the time I get to over here, I should be at pi. So let's go ahead and count by 3s this time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Here's pi. All right. Now we need our 4 sections. So take our pi, divide it into 4. Well, that's pretty easy. So 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, and 3 pi over 4. Great. Nice. Now my horizontal shift, take whatever's inside here, okay? And we're going to go ahead and set that equal to 0. That means 2x is equal to negative pi over 2. That means x is going to equal to, remember dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. Okay, so negative pi over 2, we're multiplying by 1/2. And that's going to give me negative pi over 4. Okay? That means we're going to go to the left. So let's go ahead and start graphing. Now, first thing we do is graph our midline. 1. 1 is right here. Here's positive 1 right here. Nice straight line, nice and easy. All right, good. Now after that, I need to start graphing. Remember, this is cosine. Where does cosine start? On the amplitude. What's my amplitude? 1. So we don't start here, we start up here. Right there. So now where we go down to follow the pattern. Amplitude, midline, amplitude down 1, midline, and then amplitude back up here. All right, so that's what we got right here. There we go. And same thing with this one here. There we go. All right, guys. All right, good. Now the last thing we got to do is shift it pi over 4 units to the left. So let's see here, 1, 2, 3. This would be negative pi over 4. This guy's going to end up here. This guy is going to end up over here. This guy's going to go over here. This guy's going to end up over here. And then this guy's going to end up over here. And it's going to do this. And you can see a nice curve that's changing here. All right, you see how it's moving to the left. Oh, now, last thing is they don't want cosine, right? They want what? Secant. So same thing, wherever I see the coordinate cross that midline, see here, right there, and right there. Those are going to be my asymptotes. Okay, those are going to be my asymptotes right there. Right there. Okay, right here. Okay, nice straight. Okay, and no, you see what I did? I didn't even look at it carefully. Here's my asymptote. Where's my other asymptote? Right here. Not this guy, is it, huh? It's supposed to be right here. No wonder that didn't look right. Right here. Oh, sorry about that. So it's not this one. This is not the asymptote. Ignore this one, guys. Sorry about that. So notice here's my asymptote right here. Crosses the midline. Crosses the midline right here. So this guy here, instead of being concave up, is going to be concave down. Concave down. And this little part here, instead of going concave down, is going to be concave, concave up. And then same thing here. You see this little part here, it's going down. Well, now it's going to be going up, just like that. All right. And depends how many, cycles your professor wants, but that should be perfectly acceptable. Just be careful. As you can see, you can make a mistake very easily. All right, let's do, we can do one more, guys. All right. Same thing, -2, instead of cosecant, it's going to be sine. So let me go ahead and do it down here. And then that's 3x minus pi plus 1. So we're doing the same thing. What's my midline? Is that number out here, 1. What's my amplitude? It is going to be 2. Okay. Even though there's a negative, you can just ignore because it's how many units you go up and down. What's my period? It's whatever number's in front of that x. So it's going to be 2 pi over 3. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So by the time I get to one cycle, it's going to be 2 pi over 3. We start off at 0. All right, so how to figure out these here? We're going to take 2 pi over 3. Divide that by 4. So remember, dividing by 4 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/4. So that's going to give you 2 pi over 12. And that's going to give us pi over 6. Okay. So we're going to start off here. 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, and then 4 pi over 6. And 4 pi over 6 is 2 pi over 3. All right. So last thing, we do a horizontal shift. Take whatever's inside that parentheses. We're going to set that equal to 0. 3x minus pi. Set that equal to 0. 3x is equal to positive pi. Divide both sides by 3. You're going to get x is equal to positive pi over 3. So this guy's going to move pi over 3 to the right. But if you notice, this is 6's, right? Well, this guy's pi over 3. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply the bottom and the top by 2. So this guy's going to be 2 pi over 6. So now I can compare them and see how much I have to move each coordinate. So let's go ahead and start graphing, guys. Let's start off at the midline. What's my midline? It's 1. So it's right here, positive 1. There it is right there. All right, where do I start off? This is sine. Remember, so sine starts at the midline. So we're going to start right here. We're going to make a dot right there. Now we go where? We go up to the amplitude, right? So from here, we go to the amplitude, up. And we went up 2, right? 1, 2, and then go down to the midline. Back down, amplitude, 1, 2, right there. And then back to the midline right there. All right, guys, so now we have this guy. Now there's a couple of things here. I made this one a little bit more work, but it's okay. All right, so a couple of things. First, we're going to have to move it 2 pi over 6 to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2. So this guy's going to go, this guy goes from here to here. This guy goes 1, 2, right here. And this guy goes 1, 2, right here. This guy goes 1, 2, 3, 2, right here. And then this guy goes 1, 2, and I ran out of room again. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, go here. And then it continues on. And so you can see this wave here moved over here. All right, that's the first thing. We moved it, right? Now, notice here how we have that little negative, right? So that means we're going to have to reflect it, okay? So this wave, this is the one we're talking about. Instead of being up, it's going to be what? Flipped down. So it's actually going to look part of this one here. Remember, these guys are going to stay. You're only flipping this guy right here, okay? So this is gonna flip down, so it's gonna be this solid one here. Okay, and then this guy, instead of concave up, right, is gonna flip back up. So we're gonna go 1, 2. We're gonna go 1, 2 up, and it's gonna be here, and then come back down. So the black line here, okay, the solid black line is -2 sine of the function, but now they don't want sine, they want cosecant, right? So wherever I see it crosses the midline, right here, those are the points where I'm gonna put my asymptote. Okay, right there, wherever I see it crosses the midline, right here again, that's where I'm gonna put my asymptotes, right there. All right, and you see the solid black line right here. So instead of concave up, it's going to be whoops, concave down. Whoops, concave down. Okay. And then this guy, instead of concave down like that, it's going to flip. It's going to go upwards. And I ran out of room there. Right there like that. So your graph is this guy right here, this guy going down, and then this guy going up. All right, guys. So hopefully that makes sense. It helps you out, and keep working hard.